Gluten-free basics. So what is gluten? Well, gluten is a protein composite that's actually comprised of two proteins, glutenin and gliadin. Thus, any food that contains these two proteins is considered to be a gluten-containing food. Now, that's pretty simple, right? Now, foods that contain this protein are wheat, rye, barley, spelt, kamut, and even oats, though mostly due to cross-contamination. Now, likewise, any food that contains flour from these grains is also considered to be a gluten-containing food. Now, this typically means breads, pastas, crackers, cookies, unless, of course, they're all made from gluten-free flours. Now, likewise, we also have to check processed foods very carefully, as they frequently have flour added as a thickening agent in many gravies, sauces, dressings, soups, and virtually all types of processed foods. Thus, it's necessary that we read labels and learn which processed foods contain gluten as well. Even in trace amounts, people with gluten intolerance typically will have issues handling those foods. Now, for a more complete list of foods that contain gluten, see my website, gluten-free-chris.com. Another interesting food is brown rice, which, although is technically gluten-free, does contain one of the proteins that makes up gluten, glutenin. It does not contain gliadin. Still, though, I and about 25% of people with gluten intolerance that I've worked with seem to have intolerance issues with brown rice and/or other whole grain foods like millet, quinoa, and teff. Now, I suspect this intolerance is due to the fiber in these whole grains than the actual protein. And I say this because everyone seems to tolerate brown rice syrup just fine, as long as they aren't dealing with a candida issue. Now, we've discussed three key points in this chapter: what is gluten, which foods contain gluten, and how some people with gluten intolerance also have difficulty tolerating other whole grain products. Mastering this information will empower you with a foundation for living healthy and free of gluten and other potential whole grain stressors. In the next chapter, we're going to discuss common symptoms of gluten intolerance.